to the Pacific Northwest.
Okay, and good morning and welcome to the WSJM Morning Show video live stream. I'm Ken Lundberg, and I've got a special guest here this morning, Trenton Bowens. He's with Neighbors Organizing Against Racism, that group here, and we're going to talk to Trenton about his background and a little bit about Neighbors Organizing Against Racism. The abbreviation, NOR.
Yes.
Is that what we call it? Okay,
Yes.
so NOR, and that group is organizing the third annual
Yes.
Black Summit is coming up in February.
Yes.
So the dates on that are
February 7th and 8th
February 7th and 8th, and it'll be here in Benton Harbor. Where are you holding it?
at Lake Michigan College.
Okay, so we'll be talking a bit about that and other things. We'll explore what Trenton's all about and what NOR is all about and what you hope to accomplish at the Black Summit.
Okay.
And so we'll talk about those issues in just a moment. As you are tuning into the video live stream, let's see. I want to make sure that you can hear us good hear us okay because we did some change ups here. Trenton, I don't know if you know this, but we have the video live stream every weekday, and forever and a day I've had like 5 different computers in here doing stuff, and one of them decided to give up the barn yesterday. And yeah, it gave me basically the remedy for it is going to have to be the engineer's going to have to wipe the whole computer. And so I was like, well, can we speed up getting all the other new stuff in place first? And he said, yes, we can. And so while that camera isn't working yet, that camera is, and we've done a couple of things here with lighting and stuff like that. So if you're on the video live stream right now, just give us a quick thumbs up or something that you can hear us okay, because we had to change around some of the switches on the back end here. Just a thumbs up would be greatly appreciated in the comments. If you want to share this video later with anyone, with your groups, please feel free to do so. We have it archived on our Facebook and on our YouTube as well.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Let's see what else we have out there. It's snowing currently in Benton Harbor, St. Joseph. We've got snow coming down in Buchanan. South Haven is just reporting cloudy skies right now. And we have temperatures ranging anywhere from South Haven 29 degrees to 35 degrees in Benton Harbor, but the feels like is down in the teens. Let's see, for instance, in South Haven right now, it feels like 15 degrees. We're going to have that snow continue probably through mid-morning, and it's going to be slushy in some areas, and you're going to have visibility challenges in others. So we'll have the latest. We don't have any closings as of yet. Let me do a quick refresh on our closings list just to make sure. All right, so if anyone on the video live stream can give me just a quick thumbs up to let me know that our audio is sufficient, I would appreciate it. We've got no closings nor delays to show at this time. All right, it's the WSJM Morning Show. We've got news. We'll be back in a couple of minutes with Trenton Bowens right here on WSJM.
WSJM News now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
It is the WSJM Morning Show. Good morning. I'm Ken Lundberg. It's the 21st day of November. 7:05 is the time. The temperature outside. Here's what the real temperature is. Here's what the feels like temperature is. 34 degrees is what it is out there. The feels like is probably around 18. So I think beyond the snow, that's the biggest surprise of how chilly it feels this morning. We have a guest in studio this morning, Trenton Bowens, with the group called Neighbors Organizing Against Racism. And Trenton, you said the roads out there are okay?
Yes, they were okay.
They're just a little bit wet this morning? Okay.
Yes.
All right. I ran into a little bit of slush coming over the bridge over St. Joe River, Napier Avenue. But then also we had a couple of reports that there's some visibility issues on some of the roadways, 31, for instance. So do be careful, M139 too. If you're out there out and about driving, you might get a gust or two that obscures your visibility. The forecast for today does call for these kinds of conditions to continue through at least mid-morning. Cloudy, 100% chance of rain-snow mix, 2 or 3 inches accumulation before it's done. And mainly you're going to see it stick on the elevated surfaces like bridges and that kind of thing. So be careful out there. Windy conditions will continue. We'll get a high eventually around 37 degrees, but the west winds are going to go 15 to 20 miles per hour and gusts up to 35. So that's some of that lake erosion that they were concerned about. We might start seeing some of that. Tonight's forecast, cloudy skies, a 70% chance of rain showers, low around 32 degrees, north winds 5 to 15, gusts remain to 25 miles per hour. And then Friday, mostly cloudy, 50% chance of lake effect rain showers. We're going to see that snow clear out sometime today, and we're just going to get rain tomorrow. It's going to be breezy, though, a high around 46, and northwest winds 15 to 20 miles per hour. Some of the news that we're following from the WSJM newsroom this morning, a pawpaw man is out on bail, who was out on bail, is back in jail this morning after a low-speed four-wheel drive chase in Van Buren County. Sheriff's deputies say they initiated a traffic stop on a red Chevy pickup after spotting the driver and recognizing him as having some outstanding warrants. The suspect was identified as Jeffrey Henry, an area resident. Deputies made contact, but Henry refused to exit his vehicle. Deputies say Henry then threatened to damage the deputy's vehicle and stated he's not going to comply with commands. That's when deputies say the suspect put the vehicle into four-wheel drive and drove off at a very low speed. The suspect fled, leading deputies on a slow-speed pursuit through the village of Pawpaw. The suspect then attempted to get back to his residence, but eventually the sheriff himself, Dan Abbott, got in front of the suspect's vehicle and brought it to a stop. The driver, who is currently out on bond for separate charges, was taken into custody and is currently lodged at the Van Buren County Jail. St. Joseph City Commissioners continue to pursue redevelopment-ready city status for the community through the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. To that end, they held a joint meeting earlier this week with the Downtown Development Authority and the Planning Commission. Speaking at the joint session, St. Joe City Manager Emily Hackworth said the city has been seeking a redevelopment-ready designation for several years, and getting that status would help the city with planning, zoning, and economic development through matching grants. However, she says getting certified is not easy.
It is a really thorough process, and there are 3 levels of certification. There's engaged, essentials, and then ultimately certified.
The city has 2 years ago reached the essentials level, which unlocked a $40,000 grant for it to work with Cornerstone Alliance on a new marketing strategy. Then commissioners last month approved an economic development strategy for the city. Cornerstone's Andrew Hahn said getting certified by MEDC would make it clear that the city is committed to attracting and allowing new development.
You make it through the other side of this process, and it is easy, it's consistent, it's clear, and it's transparent how to do work here. And it sends a signal that counters some of the negative perceptions that St. Joe has had, fair or not.
Hahn said the city's reputation as Saint No is one of the challenges it faces. Others include a shortage of housing, a lack of experience with economic development, and not many available opportunities in the market. Now, the joint meeting earlier this week, in fact, was one of the requirements that the MEDC lays out for cities to be certified as redevelopment ready. Work will continue to keep checking the boxes on MEDC's list of requirements. And finally, the city of Buchanan is working with the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence Cities Initiative as it plans for the redevelopment of its St. Joseph riverfront. Buchanan Community Development Director Richard Murphy tells us the city has been working on a riverfront master plan for about 2 years, seeking to improve public access and restore the ecosystem. He says the city's initiative can help provide it with technical resources to make those things possible.
Looking at measures that will improve clean water, reduce runoff, eradicate invasive species, and plant more native species that will contribute to the overall health of the ecosystem.
Murphy says resources like the river were abused during the industrial era, and now cities are coming up with ways to bring them back.
So that we can attract people, quality of life, and younger families and people to move back to these small towns.
Murphy says several things have already been accomplished to restore the riverfront. Last year, the city was awarded a grant for a new kayak launch, and it's planning a new boat launch once that project is finished. He says to attract residents, the city has to offer access to natural resources and connections to major metro areas. Buchanan is just one Southwest Michigan city that has joined the city's initiative. Others include Benton Harbor and South Haven. There's more news to talk about. That's a look at some of the news that we're covering today from the WSJM Newsroom. I'm Ken Lundberg. Good morning. It's the WSJM Morning Show. 7:11 is the time. We've got sports with Dave Wolf coming up in just a moment. Snowfall and 34 degrees in areas around Southwest Michigan, although the feels-like temperature is probably in the mid to upper teens, so dress accordingly. Our guest in studio this morning is Trenton Bowens. He is the chair of Neighbors Organizing Against Racism, a group here in are you located in Benton Harbor?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Well, welcome to the WSJM Morning Show. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Before we get into the whole meat of the interview, talking about Neighbors Organizing Against Racism and the Michigan Black Summit, the 3rd annual, congratulations on sustaining that event.
Yes, thank you.
That's cool. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Trenton.
Well, I am Trenton Bowens. Was supposed to be in Benton Harbor for 2 years.
Okay.
And it's now going on 22 years.
No kidding.
And I am an Army brat. So I was, as the news is playing, I'm looking, oh, there goes Syracuse, New York. I stayed in Syracuse, New York,
Yeah.
Iowa, Milwaukee, Columbia, Missouri, Mexico, Missouri, Kirksville, Missouri, Wisconsin. And my family came here. Believe it or not, I used to vacation in what we thought was Benton Harbor, but it was Sodas.
Okay.
And it was country, God-loving country. It was the river, the wildlife. And I was like, I love Benton Harbor. When my mom said, oh, we're going to be moving to Benton Harbor, we thought we were moving out to the country and the wildlife. And she's like, oh, no, we're moving into the city.
Yeah.
So what was supposed to be a 2-year, it became home. It embraced us. It allowed me to learn more about myself.
Okay.
And being around the African-American culture, I was blessed to travel and be around different cultures than the African-American. So being around Benton Harbor exposed me and prepared me to where I am today.
Yeah. The Neighbors Organizing Against Racism. How old is that organization?
That is actually 5 years old today.
Okay.
It,
5 years old today?
No, not today.
Not today.
We just turned 5 years old this past May.
Okay.
It's been in the works, and maybe I'm giving myself a little bit too much of a birthday. I believe we're 4 years old.
Okay.
After the George Floyd situation, we wanted to bring Benton Harbor and St. Joe together. And, it's so much that unites us than divides us. Yeah. And we allow the little stuff in us, myths and rumors to divide us. And we were able to bring people from St. Joe, Benton Harbor, South Haven, Benton Township, Black, white, gay, LGBT. And we're all stronger together when we work together on that common goal. So that's what Neighbors Organizing Against Racism is all about.
Okay, we'll talk more about that. We'll talk about the 3rd annual Michigan Black Summit that's going to be in Benton Harbor in February 7th and 8th.
Yes.
That is coming up, so we'll talk about all of that. We'll learn a little bit more about Trenton. It's going to happen right here on the video live stream, so tune in for that, please. Just go to Facebook or YouTube, type in WSJM, and you can catch that full interview. Right now, we're going to go to sports. A little bit later, we're going to get our weather forecast and the Always Learning episode with Barry and Risa. That's all coming up right here on WSJM, but we're going to continue our interview right now on the video live stream with Trenton Bowens.
We all knew it was coming, but it became official last night. Detroit Tigers pitcher and American League Triple Crown winner Tarek Skubal was the unanimous winner of the American League Cy Young Award. Skubal was 18-4 with a 2.39 ERA and had a Major League best 228 strikeouts for the Tigers this.
Okay, and it's the WSJM Morning Show on the video live stream, and I think I've pushed all the buttons appropriately. The engineer changed all the buttons around yesterday, which is good. I'm glad of that. We had to install some new equipment in here for our video live stream, but I just want to make sure that everyone is hearing it. So I'm going to assume everybody is, and we're going to go forward. So we're here. We're talking with Trenton Bowens with Neighbors Organizing Against Racism. Tell us a little bit more. So you said you were an Army brat.
Yes.
Who was in the Army?
My dad.
Okay. What did he do? What branch of the military? Oh, he was in the Army. So what did he do?
And I was a little kid. All I remember a lot is going to see him on base and traveling a lot and being told every 2 years, get your stuff together, we're moving.
Wow.
So it was a blessed experience. I got exposed to different cultures, different schools.
What was that like as far as keeping your friends?
It was challenging.
Yeah.
It was challenging because you would get comfortable and then you would move. But one thing I would tell people, I was blessed with a life that allowed me to appreciate things. And understand how blessed we were to just be able to up and move.
Yeah.
When we moved to Benton Harbor, I met kids that never got to travel up the street to St. Joe.
Wow.
Or surrounding communities. And here I am, New York and
Worldly.
Iowa and Mexico, Missouri. And I tell people, I'm from Mexico, and then I stop in St. Missouri, and they're like, oh, you're blessed. And as though you meet different friends and you stay in touch with them, you're exposed to real America instead of just a small town guy.
Yeah. How did your family come to the decision to stay in Benton Harbor? You said you came for 2 years and you're here 22 so far.
So originally it's a unique situation. My mother is she's from New Orleans, but they migrated from Benton Harbor. So this is where my grandpa and grandmother stayed, and my grandmother passed away. My grandpa was ill, and they didn't expect him to live for past 2 years. He lived past the 2 years. Okay. Probably over 15 years.
Oh my goodness.
And all of the helps that my grandpa had started getting ill and passing away. The unique thing is during World War II, my grandmother on my dad's side was one of the first immigrant wives to move into Benton Harbor.
Wow.
So she was Japanese. So this has always been home, and it was our vacation spot.
Yeah.
But we were always on the outskirts of Benton Harbor. We didn't know nothing about the schools, anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've made your life here. What have you been doing yourself in those years?
Well, one thing my mom has always taught us growing up is you wake up and you just give yourself an affirmation in the mirror. I can, I will, I shall. And she always taught us to say those things, and nothing is impossible. So growing up, I seen the advancement of other communities, and how Benton Harbor was. We were a little bit behind back in the early 2000s, late 90s.
Behind in what way?
Even some of the stuff, and I'm the school board trustee, so even some of our stuff, I'm not speaking as a Benton Harbor area school trustee, but even at education-wise, the parking and everything, looking at our community parks, looking at the opportunities, we weren't promoting. When I stayed in St. Clair Shores, Michigan, imagine being one of the only, it was about 3 African-American families in that neighborhood. And you got to see how Metro Beach in Detroit, or how they invested in their riverfront, and Benton Harbor were like, you got to see how stagnant we were. And I said I had to do something. Believe it or not, growing up, I wanted to be a pastor. I believe I was called into ministry.
Okay.
Theology, you couldn't tell me nothing. I wanted to study theology. Then I got into Benton Harbor, and I went to a city commission meeting, and I said, what in the world is going on? I was one of the youngest city commissioners because of my mom's affirmation, I shall, I will, and I can. And I became one of the city commissioners, and we worked on certain things. It was a tough time because of the emergency financial manager.
Yes.
So I retired from that life, I believe, and we started working and organizing and doing things, from whether neighbors organizing against racism or helping local political leaders develop strategy plans and implementation of how to do that. One of the biggest things that I did was implement the city income tax. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody ever heard of that in this side of the state, but in the side of Michigan, Detroit and everything, it's common.
Yeah, so the city income tax, essentially, anyone who's not living in the city of Benton Harbor who is coming in for work every day and then leaving every day. The thought behind it was they're not leaving enough.
Right. And I know it was a tough subject. It was a touchy one.
Yeah.
But you really
Well,
have
because
to,
I mean, primarily one of the big opponents was Whirlpool Corporation, right?
yes, it's so funny you say that because I was working at Whirlpool
You
at the
were,
time,
yeah.
trying to implement that. And it wasn't just about Whirlpool. One
Yeah.
thing you can do is sit on Main Street in a lawn chair, and you can see all of the cars that come in and out from Illinois, Indiana, Benton Harbor. The statistics show that we have more people working in Benton Harbor than the actual residents living in Benton Harbor.
Yeah.
We have more renters in Benton Harbor than homeowners.
Hmm.
We had to do something to bring revenue. A city cannot sustain itself off of lower income renting and everything of that nature. So I implemented and I brought before the city income tax, and it was, voted down the first time. And after I resigned from city commission and I was able to work with the citizens and other leaders, we brought it back and we passed. And, if it wasn't for that city income tax, if you see our construction, thank God it's finally clearing up, but
Yeah.
we were under construction. We were able to help get money and grants that we would not have been able to apply for. But that's because we had forward thinking and the vision to bring that in.
Yeah. Yeah. How is that income tax doing today?
Sometimes I question myself. Was it the right decision? Did we hurt ourselves? I believe that we did at that time, which was the best thing that in our ability to do is to bring revenue. You can't squeeze juice out of a turnip for so long. And I believe that as of now, it has helped us. Now, as we are transforming and becoming a different community, we may have to have a conversation. Is this a hindrance or is it a help?
Yeah. And so potential for repeal.
Yes, it may be that tough conversation.
Yeah.
I have not really gave it that much thought, but it was something, what's next now? We did the city income tax. Is it hindering businesses from coming, or is it helping us continue to operate?
Yeah.
And that's
On the city commission itself, having the experience that you've had on it, how do you think it's operating today as part of this transformation that you mentioned?
well, Benton Harbor for the past 16 years, I feel old to even going back and forth with that. I've got active at the age of 13
Yeah.
in Benton Harbor politics, and I've seen stuff come and go. I've seen where we have not had housing opportunities. We have 3 housing developments happening. We have our local marijuana dispensaries that are bringing tax dollars in. We are revitalizing. The thing that I do want us to be concerned about is what about the average person?
Yeah.
What about Billy or Joe that is working, but rent is steady going stagnant, $1,200, $1,300? What about them? We can make this a tourism community, but what about the people that keep the lights on?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah. Yeah. So fast forward to 4 or 5 years ago, neighbors organizing against racism. Talk about the formation of that.
Well, after the outcry, I remember sitting down watching TV. I had to detox myself from TV. Can you believe it? 4 years now, I had to get rid of it because I was watching CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and it became addicting and it became a way of life. And then I realized this stuff was making me depressed.
Yeah.
But during the George Floyd situation, I was watching people protest across the world and everything. And you watched the video and you heard his crying for his mom and everything. And it did something to me. And I told one of my friends, I said, I want to do something in Benton Harbor. And I called the mayor up and said, Mayor, I want to do something in Benton Harbor. Now, Benton Harbor has had its reputation.
Sure.
We're not to be walked over.
No, that's right. Absolutely.
And everybody was, the mayor said, go ahead. And everybody was like scared and, they're going to riot. They're going to riot. But I had faith in our people that we weren't going to riot. And we went to Roosevelt Park. President Roosevelt came and dedicated that park and everything. And it was about 300 to 400 people there. And we came together and I said, we're stronger together when we work together. And it's George Floyd today, but it can be your sons or daughters. And this is what's been going on.
Yeah.
And we were able to march from Roosevelt Park to downtown City Center. We said prayers, spoke poem, and we came together, sung the National Black Anthem. And then, at that same time, some of the businesses in St. Joe were shutting down because they were scared we were going to march up to St. Joe. And that's not who we are. And I believe that we're stronger together. It was people in St. Joe that were coming down there. So I said to one of my friends, I said, next week, give us 2 weeks. We're going to start in St. Joe, march around St. Joe, down to Benton Harbor. I didn't think it was going to be that many people. And we had over 1,000 people. It was probably one of the most historic marches that we ever had. And every time I get that picture, I see that picture, I get goosebumps. Because where do we go from here? It was the question. We can march, we can organize, we can strategize. And we were able to talk and develop neighbors organizing against racism. When you look at some of the things that we have been able to do, and I did not realize, growing up African American and Black and Japanese, one thing that my family was strict on is teaching us the importance of culture and who we are and where we're from. And if you look at June Woods Park, on Broadway, and I can go into that. If you, June Woods Park, when I was an Army brat, came down here from Syracuse, New York, and it was Thanksgiving. I'll never forget. It was a park, and we wanted to go across the street. My aunt stayed across the street. My mom said, no, you guys stay on the porch or come inside. This isn't good. And me and my baby brother at that time, I remember I was probably in the 3rd grade, and he was in kindergarten. We were upset because the little kids were playing on the park. We didn't know nothing about it. Fast forward 20-something years later, I went to the city commission, asked could we adopt the park. We got the park name changed after one of the first early African American settlers. We partnered with Whirlpool and community organizations and revitalized that park. Now, what's is so significant about that is my aunt that stayed across the street, she didn't get to live to see that park because she was laying in her bed and a stray bullet hit her in her head. But I sat back and looked. That's what Neighbors Organizing Against Racism is all about, changing the way we see things and making things a reality.
Yeah. Thank you for that story.
Yes.
That's powerful. What speaking of parks and dedications and unity, were you able to attend the events earlier this week?
No, I actually was in school.
Okay.
However, I hope my teacher's not watching. I was supposed to be tuned in into class, and thank God it was Zoom. I actually act like I was on my bathroom break, and I was upstairs at work taking pictures.
Oh,
and
man.
everything. The funny thing is a full circle come together because Martin Luther King III came to Benton Harbor before.
Okay.
And I got to travel with him to Washington, D.C. And, I didn't get to get back and meet him. I was trying to find my pictures, but I was up taking pictures, waving at the kids, and it was just honored to see it.
Yeah.
I told myself this weekend, I don't want to go where it's a lot of fanfare, a lot of people out there. I just want to go by myself and just savor the moment to see that this is a reality.
Yeah. What is the Unified Civic Monuments Project mean to you? St. Joseph, Benton Harbor, this effort.
It's an honor to have a statue, but let's not continue to allow those things to say we've come a long way. We still got work to do. So yes, it's beautiful that the statues are looking at each other. But when I look at the situations that we are living in and the plight that we're living in, you got to ask yourself, what would Martin Luther King, if he was alive, what would he be saying? If we look at the immigration talk and some of the hatred rhetoric that we are hearing, or the talk about our LGBT brothers and sisters, or say we're equal, but you have a bridge up the street is white and a bridge down the street is black. What would Martin Luther King be asking us? Have we come a long way? Are we using statues as fanfares? And I want us to get focused. We need some results to uplift everybody. And hopefully that statue gives people a real conversation to have with themselves.
Yeah. We're talking with Trenton Bowens. He's the chair of the Neighbors Organizing Against Racism group. and they've got the 3rd annual Michigan Black Summit. It's coming up in Benton Harbor in February, early February. So we'll talk a little bit about that and maybe how that is addressing some of what you just mentioned, the go forward plan and the continuing plan as well. So we'll talk about that right here on WSJM in just a couple of minutes. We've got the Bloomberg Market Minute coming up next. It's the video live stream on WSJM.
Difference in our community on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM. If you'd like to get your group or organization on the show, email letstalk@wsjm.com. Got something to say? Weeknights at 5:30 p.m. and Sunday mornings too on 94.9 WSJM.
The Bloomberg Business Minute on WSJM is brought to you by Sturgis Bank and Trust. Let's grow together. Serving Berrien Branch, Kalamazoo, St. Joseph, and Van Buren counties. Now with 2 new locations in St. Joseph, downtown, and on Cleveland Avenue. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. A warning if you have an iPhone, an iPad, or a Mac. Cybersecurity experts say you should update your Apple product operating systems right now because there is a security flaw. Apple just released what is called a 0-day patch. The flaw was uncovered by Google's Threat Analysis Group, which focuses on countering targeted and government-backed hacking. Apple says the issue may have been actively exploited. Downloading the latest update in your Apple settings that should fix the vulnerability. NVIDIA assured investors that its new product lineup can maintain the company's AI-fueled growth run, even though it's costing more than expected. The company's sales forecast for the current quarter was lower than some analysts were expecting. Wall Street has been closely watching the launch of Blackwell, NVIDIA's latest chip. Futures were mixed this morning after stocks closed mixed in yesterday's trading. The Dow rose 140 points. The S&P 500 closed little changed. The Nasdaq slipped 21. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
And thank you so much for joining us on the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. It's 7:31. We've got more coming up in just a minute from ABC News. We'll get the latest world and national news. Right now outside, snowfall. Going to refresh my list to see if there are any delays or closings. I don't think that we have any as of yet. But if we had any delays and closings, they would be brought to you. The update would be brought to you by Kepner's Precision Auto Crafters. We have no delays, no closings at this point. But do be careful out there. Even though it is 35 degrees in Benton Harbor, 36 degrees in St. Joseph, and some snowfall, and it's going to get mixed with a little bit of rain. The feels-like temperature is a bit colder out there, about 18 degrees. And the roadways could be a little bit slippery. If they're not slippery, they could be a little bit occluded by the snow blowing around, so you could have some visibility issues. Got the latest from ABC News. That's right now, and then we'll have the latest from our WSJM newsroom coming up next. Also, we'll continue our interview with Trenton Bowens from Neighbors Organizing Against Racism. We'll talk about the Michigan Black Summit that's coming up in February. That's up in a couple of minutes right here on WSJM.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Extreme weather in the Pacific Northwest. ABC meteorologist Lee Goldberg says a deadly bomb cyclone has brought torrential rains to parts of Washington state and Northern California.
Out west, it's a powerhouse storm roping in an atmospheric river into the west. It's a rare high-risk flooding in Northern California. It can mean rock slides and also wind gusts of 70 miles an hour along with high surf. 1 to 2 feet of additional snow from the mountains of Northern California.
The Northeast receiving some much-needed rain overnight. Pennsylvania and West Virginia could get some snow. The Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry says the death toll in Gaza has now surpassed 44,000, 104,000 people wounded. The International Criminal Court issuing an arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over accused war crimes in Gaza. Republicans on the House Ethics Committee have rejected calls to release the panel's long-running investigation into former Congressman and current Attorney General nominee Matt Gaetz. This is ABC News.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
35 degrees in Benton Harbor, 36 in St. Joseph. Still some snowfall out there, and we're going to see that continue this morning. The forecast for today does call for cloudy skies, 100% chance of rain-snow mix. By the end of this, we could get maybe 2 or 3 inches of accumulation, mainly on the elevated spaces. It's going to be windy today, a high around 37 degrees. West winds 15 to 20 miles per hour with gusts up to 35. Tonight's forecast, cloudy skies. We have a 70% chance of the rain showers continuing this evening. There's still going to be a low overnight around 32 and north winds 5 to 15 with gusts up to 25. If you were getting any of that wind yesterday, it just kept hitting the house real hard. That's what's bringing the moisture in off the lake, and that's what's giving us some of this precipitation. Friday's forecast, mostly cloudy skies, a 50% chance of lake effect rain showers tomorrow, breezy, high around 46 degrees, and northwest winds 15 to 20 miles per hour. Some of the news that we are following from the WSJM newsroom, we want to tell you about an update to a story that we told you about yesterday. The Berrien County Sheriff's Department is working with the Drug Enforcement Agency after a major cocaine bust on I-94 earlier this week. Basically, there was a be on the lookout alert for a vehicle that was traveling with drugs inside. Not just any vehicle, but a tractor trailer, a big old semi. And inside the trailer, because Berrien County Sheriff's Department were watching for it, they found it, they saw it, they pulled it over. They found 123 pounds of cocaine. 123 pounds of cocaine. That is, somebody's not going to be skiing this winter because that is now in confiscation. Sheriff Height said the initial stop went down. They arrested a 22-year-old driver. He's in the Berrien County Jail. They're now working with the DEA to figure out what are the right charges to pursue, should it be prosecuted at a local level or actually at a federal level. So we'll keep you up to date on that news story. Other stories that we're talking about this morning, officials with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission and FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, were in town last night with another meeting to update citizens on the planning for the restart of the Palisades nuclear power plant. The meeting was held at Lake Michigan College last night, and they focused on some of the emergency management plans after the site's planned return to operation. We'll tell you a little bit about that and other stories. That's coming up at 8 o'clock this morning right here on the WSJM Morning Show. We will continue our interview with Trenton Bowens. That is coming up on the video live stream in just a moment, and we'll talk about the Michigan Black Summit. The third annual summit is coming up in February. That interview is going to continue right now on the video live stream, and we'll bring some of it back on the radio in just a couple of minutes. First, we've got to get to news around the state, and then our sports report from Dave Wolf.
The Michigan News Network.
I'm Beth Fisher.
Okay. Back on the video live stream. Thanks for joining us on the WSJM video live stream. We're talking with Trenton Bowens. He's the chair of Neighbors Organizing Against Racism. Side note, you mentioned in your interview, and I asked you about a second ago, 4 years clean of TV.
Yes.
Why do you not watch TV?
It was just
on a regular?
Well, I had to come to peace for myself. So much what I've learned about society is that we sometimes allow the news and the liberal and conservative news hosts and everything to shape our opinion and public opinion and how we feel about each other.
Yeah.
And it just became so toxic in life. One of my favorite singers, she's passed away, was Mandisa. And she sings that song with Toby Mac, We All Bleed the Same Blood. It doesn't matter if you're left or right. And I had to stop it because it was breaking news and it was changing the way I looked upon people and everything. And it just, I had to debrief. If we're dealing with the problems in Benton Harbor and people were dealing with lead water and, high unemployment, or I'm dealing with people that come to me for food and everything. And then you go and watch the TV and it's all of these other problems. It comes crashing. So what I had to do is I had to make a decision. I got rid of Hulu Live, cable, all of that.
Yeah.
And when you go in my house, it's peace and quiet. You would hear my birds, you would hear my dogs or my fish tank water. And it has helped me a lot.
What do you replace for, say, entertainment or to stay informed?
Well, most of the time I'll go. It's funny because I was actually on the phone Monday, and one of my friends was like, "Did you watch the news?" I said, "No, I don't. I don't." She kept trying to tell me stuff. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know and everything. And most of the time, I'm either at my laptop working on projects, or trying cooking recipes, trying to eat healthy, or giving my dogs. The groomer probably kills me every time. Giving them haircuts and
goodness.
I'm doing stuff like that. I'm doing stuff where I'm able to use that energy that would just drain you, and I'm able to use it for myself. Walking at the beach, I went to Gene Clark Park a few months ago. It was like the city's probably going to kill me. It was about 12 o'clock, and I'm walking at night, letting the water hit me, and everything felt good. And then I look up, it's 2 coyotes.
Oh, goodness.
But it shows you how beautiful we are, and we
Yeah.
don't realize this area brings that to
Yeah.
us.
Neighbors Organizing Against Racism. The name itself of that group is provocative.
Yes.
Organizing Against Racism. How has that been operating that organization?
It has been the honor of the lifetime. Once I retired from, at that time, semi-retired from politics with the city of Benton Harbor, I got me an apartment, and I was close to I-94. I was ready to, I said, my next move is going to be up by Detroit, back home. And I had the opportunity to lead it. And, we're not just a name. We're actually impacting lives. One of the projects we have is the Berrien County Bail Fund, where we assist individuals that are sitting in jail. If you look at the statistics, more African Americans are sitting in jail than the county's population. The county population at that time is only 14%. 70% of the people that are sitting in jail are African Americans. One of the individuals that I had to bail out, and he was sitting in jail, his bond was $300. And it was because he stole up 2 pot pies and a stick of deodorant. One of the young people that we bailed out was suffering mental illness and a substance abuse. Do we lock them up because they're suffering, or do we try to get them help? I am a product. I'm adopted into my family. My mom lost me because she was battling substance abuse. And she was sitting in, at that time, it was Boone County Jail. So you see families destroyed. You see people losing their homes. And that's one of the ways Neighbors Organizing Against Racism, we're helping. We're bailing people out. We're helping get them rides to rehab. If it's going to Pine Rest in Grand Rapids, if it's helping them get Jollibee tokens to go to work, making sure they're getting back and forth to court and everything. We're doing that. Now it's our going on year 2, and hopefully we can do a larger impact and everything. But that's what Neighbors Organizing Against Racism is all about.
Yeah. We're talking with Trenton Bowens. He's the chair of Neighbors Organizing Against Racism, also known as NOR, and you've got the Michigan Black Summit. You said something there I want to come back to, which is temporarily, I think you said temporarily retired from politics.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you about that in just a minute. Ask you a few other things, and then maybe you'll tell us a little bit more about the Michigan Black Summit, which is coming up in February, and some of the things that you have planned for there, and then beyond, whatever you want to talk about.
Okay.
Anything else you want to hit this morning?
Let's go with the flow.
Okay. All right. It's the WSJM Morning Show. We're continuing on the video live stream. Thank you for doing that. If you're noticing different camera angles today, that's because we've got different cameras in play here, and we're going to be messing around with them for a few days until we figure out exactly where they should be going. The temperature outside right now, I got to look outside to see if it's still snowing. But we do expect that snow to come back in the next hour. We've got 35 degrees, but the feels like is still in the teens. Let's see what Benton Harbor's feels like is right now. 19 degrees. You said you're ready for Thanksgiving, Trenton?
Yes.
You are ready.
Yes. I'm the cook in the family.
Oh, okay.
I'm the one that has no kids. I have 3 dogs.
Okay.
And
well, they're kids.
That's it. I just got them all matching Detroit Lion jerseys. So I'm the
what kind of dogs are they?
I have 2 Shih Tzus.
Okay.
And I have a Shih Tzu Poodle mix.
Okay.
And all of their names start with the M.
What are they?
Misty, Mercedes, and Migos. So
hang on just a second. We'll visit that in just a moment. We're going to come back to the regular radio here, right here on WSJM.
Closer to the lake shore, it'll be a rain-snow mix. Some accumulation in a few spots on elevated surfaces will be a couple of inches, but near the lake shore, we're going to stay relatively light. Windy and a high of only 37. Tonight down to 32, and windy with lake effect rain showers tomorrow with a high of 46. I'm Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
It's 7:44. The WSJM Morning Show continues. I'm Ken Lundberg. Joined this morning in the studio by former Benton Harbor City Commissioner and current chair of Neighbors Organizing Against Racism, Trenton Bowens. Trenton, thanks again for coming into the studio. We appreciate it. During the break here, when we were talking on the video live stream, you said you're ready for Thanksgiving. You've already been to the grocery store to pick up your Thanksgiving supplies. You're the cook in the family. You've got your Detroit Lions jerseys ready for who?
My 3 dogs. And I have my jersey too. So, when you don't have kids, your dogs become your family.
Absolutely.
And I tell my mom and brag, I said, I remember when you sent us to school, me and my baby brother, for school pictures, it was the Detroit Lions, and watching them, rooting them, and having heart attacks and everything when they're playing. Go Detroit. So.
Detroit's looking good again this year.
Yes.
Feeling good about
Make
it?
Detroit great again. No,
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. All right. It's 7:45, and Neighbors Organizing Against Racism. I'd like to ask you a couple more questions about that, and then the Michigan Black Summit that you have coming up. But during the video live stream, you mentioned that you're semi-retired from politics. What do you mean by semi-retired?
As of right now, I just got reelected to the Benton Harbor School Board.
Okay.
I'm currently serving as the vice president. But Benton Harbor has a sound. When you're driving down I-94 and you hear exit 33, it's the pride and joy of Benton Harbor. When you're at Blossom Time, they may be small now, but they're mighty. Benton Harbor High School Tiger Marching Band.
Yeah.
Whether it's coming from the PGA or watching the community come together for concerts or Juneteenth, it's a sound of Benton Harbor. It's that unique pride where they're tigers. They fight for what they believe in. When the state was trying to shut the school down, they came together.
Yeah.
When the water crisis was going on, I seen the best in us. People were offering their showers. People were coming in. Trenton, can I help? Can I get water? Somebody that used to live in Benton Harbor, they stayed in Iowa. They called me up and said, Trenton, I'm sending some water to you, Benton Harbor. What's your address? And I said, okay. I gave them my mom's address.
Yeah.
My mom calls me and she says, what the world, Trenton? It's a skid of 2 water. And I'm like, oops, my bad. So, we're driving that. But it's a sound.
Yeah.
And that sound is what brings Benton Harbor together. I believe that we have to keep that sound and that community pride going. We've come a long way. And we have to continue going. So what the future holds, if I decide to run for mayor or decide to run for county commissioner, I believe I'm going to do whatever I can do to be utilized and be an asset for this community, and make sure that what about us is the key message.
Yeah. So you're keeping your options open on higher office.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for making that news here this morning. That's good. You have coming up as part of Neighbors Organizing Against Racism, the Michigan Black Summit. The third one of those is coming up. What is Michigan Black Summit and when is it and what will it accomplish?
The Michigan Black Summit, which is now entering its 3rd year, is a 2-day gathering designed to educate, empower, and motivate leaders, activists, elected officials, and regular citizens, business owners. It's a conference where we educate, empower them with the tools and necessities to move forward in their communities.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I was listening to you guys, and you guys talk about the Great Lakes initiative going on in Buchanan and South Haven. Benton Harbor received an award.
Yeah.
During the past year, we were able to have the Black Summit. And people were driving through our communities, driving through harbor shores and seeing what can be and the possibility if you work together with public and private partnerships. And we want to showcase and give people the tools to go back into their communities and be agents of change.
Yeah. Specific. Do you have the agenda set out yet?
Well, as of right now, our theme is the Black vote,
Okay.
the Black dollar, and Black leadership.
Okay.
Those are crises in the African American community. Every 4 years we have people come into our community. Just this past few months ago,
Sure.
begging for our vote.
Yeah. Bill Clinton.
Yes,
Yeah.
They're begging, trying to get us to vote. But is that all we're good for? Is your vote? When you get in, you forget about the policies. Can uplift people out of poverty? We're not asking for a handout. We're asking, what can you do to help? Because what's affecting African Americans in Benton Harbor is also affecting our Caucasian brothers and sisters in St. Joe or Benton Township. We're all in this together. And we may all not vote the same, but some of the same issues affect us. So we need to talk about, at the Black Summit this year, we're going to talk about no means no. We're getting ready to enter a new governor's race. Can you believe it? Um, and we have to come with a plan. People talk about Project 25, if it's real or true. I said, but you can't get mad. They had a plan and they have a vision of how they see it. We're letting people come into our communities, vote for this, vote for that. But where is our plan? What is the thing? When we look at the Black dollar, it's $1 billion industry. But why is it that we're not able to get certain loans to uplift and build businesses? That's why we have Michigan Economic Development Chair CEO Quentin Messnar. He'll be our keynote speaker that Saturday. They'll be hosting workshops. What can we do to help lift and help improve the economic outcome? And then the crisis of Black leadership. In the state of Michigan and Benton Harbor, Benton Township, we have to learn how to embrace and prepare for our transition. And one thing you can say about the family that I kind of look up to, 20 years if I said that, I would be crucified. But George Bush family, first president, George Bush.
George H.W.
Yeah, George H.W. Bush. One thing that you got to say is his family had a succession plan. And it was George Bush Jr. and Jeb Bush didn't go as far, but he did come far. Then they had Prescott. They had a plan of transition. And I noticed in our African American community, a lot of our leaders want to be 78, 80 years old, holding on to that seat. No, we all have to die one day. What are we doing to train and prepare our replacement? And we're going to talk about the Black leadership and how do we, it's one thing to get elected, but what are you doing? And what are you doing to bring results? Sometimes you hear people say, I'm voting for everybody Black. Is that dangerous? Because you can be white and have some of the same beliefs that I believe. I have not always voted Republican or Democrat. I'm a you see my ballot, you're going to say, what type of voter is he? But we have to look at what votes best for us and everything and why. So.
Okay. All right. We're talking with Trenton Bowens. He is the chair of the Neighbors Organizing Against Racism. We're going to conclude the interview in just a moment during our Moody on the Market update. The third annual Michigan Black Summit is coming up in February. We'll ask him what he needs for that. That's coming up right here on the WSJM Morning Show.
Rich Brand and Tarek Halsey of IMS Insurance Management Service, your local auto owners agency in St. Joseph and Niles, know it means something to have honest.
They have taken all my space here. I've got keyboards here, keyboards there. I don't know what I'm going to do. We gotta work this out. Let's see. All right. How are we doing?
I'm great.
Okay, good. So you say you're the cook. Are you a good cook?
I won it. Well, that was a draw. I know how to make soups. I've won soup contests.
What's your favorite soup to make?
I know how to make homemade chicken noodle soup. I know how to make potato cheese soup. Put it like this. I'm trusted to make the macaroni and cheese in our family for our dinners.
From scratch?
Yes.
Okay, not from the box.
Not from the box.
I made it from scratch one time for my boys. I've got 3 boys. I made it from scratch, and it was like the most delicious mac and cheese I had ever made. And they said, where's the box? I don't see the box. It's not orange. I don't want it.
Yes.
Made me so angry.
I've trusted family unions, family gatherings. I need you to make the macaroni and cheese. And I'm like, I got to teach you guys to make this.
That's great. Okay, we'll continue our interview. We've got to get a couple commercials out of the way here first. Let me make sure we're doing this right. Thanks for joining us on the video live stream. We'll look forward to your feedback if you have anything about how the setup looks. We're in kind of an adjustment phase, a test and adjust. So my apologies if it looks like I'm looking at the camera. I'm actually looking at the computer screen below it. Let's see, do that. Make sure everything's looking good here. And we'll come back in a second here. This region, Neighbors Organizing Against Racism, is racism still present here?
Yes.
How so?
And you look at it. Just read the blogs. Read the blogs, and sometimes we don't know we're being racist, but we also have implicit bias. When you go into the crime groups and they say, oh, Lord, that's Benton Harbor, they don't know how to act. It was a murder, bless the soul. And I'm not even going to go in there, but it was
Yeah.
a murder recently in one of our surrounding cities. You didn't see that same
Mm.
rhetoric. We're still living in the 60s, if we want to say it. Why is it that Benton Harbor is still a majority Black and brown school? And you go to St. Joe, you go to Bering Springs, Lakeshore. Our kids shouldn't have to cross boundary lines to city lines just to get a quality education. But we still have a lot to go. And we're finally scratching the surface. But we still, racism is alive and present here still.
Yeah. How do you measure success for your group, Nor?
The success is when we actually are informing and educating individuals. You know, some people will never know what implicit bias is. They hear equity and equal and they think it's the same. No, it's not. And success is being able to give them the tools and necessities to understand what is implicit bias. What is why is the life expectancy different in Benton Harbor versus St. Joe?
Yeah.
That is success. Success is we're not going to be able to solve racism on our own, but it's giving people the tools to be agents of change.
Do you still get pushback on the organization?
Well, you know, when we implemented the bail fund,
Yeah,
we got a lot of pushback. When we bought Eric McGinnis, the author of Eric McGinnis, Alex Kosowitz, we got a lot of pushback. But as of now, you learn in this life and in community organizing to brush it off.
Yeah.
So I've learned I have thick skin. I read the blogs and I read the comments. You just brush it off.
Yeah. Yeah. You should give up the blogs. Give up the TV, give up the blogs.
Yes.
Social media, man. All right. We'll come right back and continue this interview. We'll conclude the interview, as a matter of fact, during our Moody on the Market update. It is the WSJM Morning Show. It's 7:56. I'm Ken Lundberg. The Moody on the Market update is next.
There will be door prizes plus small bites, cocktails, and music. If you can't be there but want to donate, go to givegrove.com/Bears in the Air 2024. The 13th annual Bears in the Air kickoff party at South Bend International Airport, Friday night, December 6th, 6 to 9. Have a delightful time at South Bend International Airport while making a positive difference in the lives of children and honoring our deserving veterans.
From the Pat Moody Studios, this is News Talk Sports 94.9. WSJM FM Benton Harbor, St. Joseph. Depend on us. The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
7:57, the WSJM Morning Show continues. It's time for the Moody on the Market update. It's brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owner's insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. We're talking with Trenton Bowens. He is the chair of Neighbors Organizing Against Racism. You've got the 3rd annual Michigan Black Summit coming up February 7th and 8th. What do you need for that?
Well, you know, you can register for the Michigan Black Summit by going on to Neighbors Organizing Against Racism Facebook page. The link is there. But, you know, if it's not Benton Harbor's way, like I said, we have a unique sound. We like to party and celebrate. So we have the 70s and probably 70s and 80s music group, Midnight Star, Freakazoid, No Dancing on the Dance Floor, Baby, Midas Touch. They will be here live joining us at the Mendel Center that Friday. Tickets are $65. And the thing is, they cross racial boundaries too, you know, and they are Michigan band. Some of them are from Flint and some of them are from Detroit. So we'll be having that. And, you know, we wouldn't be able to do this without people and organizations like Whirlpool Corporation, AEP, Michigan Economic Development Corporation. And, you know, I have 77 more days.
Yeah.
So we're recruiting sponsors, vendors, and everything. And come out. So say, it's the Michigan Black Summit just for Black people? No. It is for allies. It's for people that just want to learn more. Come and be part of it. You know, my mom used to make us watch Tavis Smiley's State of Black America on C-SPAN. And we would have to write a report. And if she didn't think we were writing stuff and she thought we were fluff, she would rip it up in front of our face and we would have to rewind it and watch it all over again.
Wow.
So that's how the Black Summit really became a part.
Okay.
And so we're just wanting everybody to come on, register, come out, attend, come and party with the purpose, celebrate. We'll also be honoring some key people. And that press release will be coming out soon. And we have a special guest that will be coming. I'm on an embargo and I can't wait to release it, but I am excited.
That's excellent. All right, Trenton Bowens, thank you for the time this morning. We really appreciate you. We're up against the news here. So if you need more information, just check out Neighbors Organizing Against Racism on Facebook. You've got the Michigan Black Summit. The third annual is coming up February 7th and 8th if you want more information there. Midnight Star is going to be there. You've got a special guest you still haven't announced. So we'll look forward to all of that and more. Thanks, Trenton.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's 8 o'clock.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston.
Thank you very much for you on the video live stream for joining us this morning. We appreciate you. Trenton, any parting words for our folks?
No, just thank you for having me. We're excited. It's 77 more days to the Michigan Black Summit. As I stated, we have some state representatives, state senators coming. We have Quentin Messner from Michigan Economic Development Corporation giving our keynote speech on that Friday. We have Midnight Star joining us that Saturday evening.
And a special guest that you'll be announcing.
Yes, and we have a special guest. I can't wait until the office releases it. I'm like a little kid waiting. Can I release it? Can I release it? So I'm excited. Come join us. Come.
That's great.
Register.
How many people do you expect will attend this year?
You know, it's so funny. You always ask. Everybody always asks. At the first summit we had 100 people.
Okay.
The second summit we had 200. I'm trying to go for 230,
okay.
250, but I believe we're going to exceed those numbers.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on it. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, Trenton.
Thank you. You have a great day.
All right. Thank you. And for those of you on the video live stream, thank you for experimenting with our brand new cameras in place. We'll keep messing with it just to make sure that it's all right and that it's good for you to watch. So give us any feedback that you have in the comments there. Thanks for joining us. It's the WSJM Morning Show.